These 3 nurses pushed me back on the bed, forcibly held me down, and the midwife at the end of the bed said, "This has got nothing to do with you."
At 16, this was Christine Cole's first experience of childbirth. Drugged, frightened, and forced to give her baby girl up for adoption.
I never got to see my baby, and I didn't know where she was taken. I didn't know whether she was dead or alive.
Sadly, Christine's harrowing tale is one of thousands across Australia.
I used to lay in bed in the boarding school saying over and over, "This is not happening to me, this is not happening to me." I could feel my child move, but I was just completely in denial. I was 14.
Tracy was forcibly removed from her birth mother and adopted out. Years later, a frightened pregnant teenager, she found herself in the same situation.
The birth was traumatic. I was treated like scum. It was like a rape.
In the 1950s and right into the late 70s, it was common practice for hospitals, religious institutions and government agencies to coerce unmarried mothers into giving their babies up for adoption.
As soon as they got into the system, they were marked sort of for adoption a long time before any consent to ask for or given. It was just assumed that that was going to be the pattern. So they were never really offered any options in that process, and that was illegal.
It was 1969 when Christine fell pregnant to her boyfriend of 2 years.
I had told the social worker that I was planning to get married and that I wanted to keep my baby. That didn't make any difference. I had the child welfare department worker standing over me saying basically, "Sign these papers or you can't leave." By this time, I'm drugged, traumatised, terrified, because I kept asking for my baby repeatedly, and they just kept saying, "No, you can't."
Not surprisingly, most mothers suffered post-traumatic stress disorder and depression, with Australian female suicide rates the highest between 1962 and 72.
Some were told that their babies had died. Some mothers describe walking the streets for the whole of their lives and looking at children that would be about the right age and thinking, "I wonder if that's my child."
The single mother's pension didn't exist until 1973. The thinking at the time was that babies were financially and emotionally better off with married couples.
It's really unclear what role the federal government had at the time, what policies and programs they had in place, what they knew was around what was going on.
2 years ago, an apology to the stolen generation changed the course of Australian history. Now, for these mothers, the word sorry could mean the start of a long healing process.
All I want is to be included in my family and to cry on my mother's breast, and I feel like I probably would never have that.
If you've been through such an agonising experience, you need to have the people responsible to validate that by saying, yes, we did something wrong and we are deeply, deeply sorry.